A very good morning, dear students. I'm Pretima Sharma, your bio teacher. In the topic circulatory system, we have studied that blood carries food and oxygen around the body. But blood never comes in direct contact with the body cells. So, how do food and oxygen get from the blood to the body cells where they are needed? This happens with the help of plasma, which leaks from the blood capillaries around the body cells. This plasma, which leaks out from the blood capillaries, is called the tissue fluid. That is, we can say that the liquid from the blood which is leaked out or forced out through the capillary walls, because the capillary walls are porous, right? And move between all the body cells, providing them with food and oxygen and removing carbon dioxide, is called tissue fluid. Actually, the walls of the blood capillaries are very thin. So, when the blood flows through the capillaries, the liquid called tissue fluid leaks from the blood capillaries and goes into tiny spaces between the various body cells in the tissues. The tissue fluid carries food and oxygen from the blood to the cells and picks up their waste products like carbon dioxide. After doing its job, most of the tissue fluid seeps back into the blood capillaries. The remaining tissue fluid, carrying large protein molecules, digested fats, germs from the cells and fragments of the dead cells, enter into another type of tiny tubes called the lymph capillaries. It becomes the lymph. This lymph is returned to the blood by another type of transport system in the human body, similar to the circulatory system. Okay, this system is called the lymphatic system. Okay, that is, in the circulatory system we have the blood flowing, and the lymphatic system we have the lymph flowing all through the body. So now what is this lymphatic system? Now, lymphatic system is the system of tiny tubes called lymph vessels and lymph nodes, which are also called lymph glands, in the human body, which transports the liquid called lymph from the body tissues to the body, to the blood circulatory system, which is called the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system consists of the following parts. There are 4 parts of the lymphatic system. That is the lymph capillaries, the large lymph vessels, the lymph nodes or the lymph glands, and the lymph itself. Now, what is this lymph? Lymph is a colorless fluid. It is the part of the tissue fluid which is in turn a part of the blood plasma. So, the composition of tissue fluid and lymph is as same as blood plasma, but tissue fluid and lymph have low protein content. Now, let us differentiate amongst blood and lymph. What is the difference between the blood and the lymph? So, the first criteria on basis of what we differentiate blood and lymph are: blood is red in color due to the presence of hemoglobin, right? Whereas lymph is colorless, it lacks hemoglobin. The second criteria is the composition of what all things are there in blood. Blood consists of the plasma, it consists of the red blood cells which are called erythrocytes, it consists of the white blood cells which are also called the leukocytes and the platelets. Whereas lymph consists of plasma and leukocytes only. The flow of blood is fairly rapid, whereas the flow of lymph is quite slow. Blood mainly transports material from one organ to another in the body, whereas lymph mainly conveys material from the cells and tissues into the blood. Now, the path of circulation of blood and lymph. The path of circulation of blood is heart to the arteries, to the capillaries, to the veins, and back to the heart. That means it is the circulation, okay? Whereas in lymph, it is from the tissue spaces to the lymphatic capillaries, to the lymph vessels, and then to the subclavian veins. That means it is unidirectional, okay? It travels only in one way. Lymph nodes only have the leukocytes, whereas the lymph capillaries lack leukocytes. Leukocytes means white blood cells. As capillaries join and form the blood vessels, similarly, lymph capillaries also join to form the lymphatic vessels. These lymph vessels are like veins. Now, at specific points in the lymph vessels, there are enlargement like beads on a string. Now, these are called lymph nodes. The lymph is filtered through the lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are abundant in the regions of neck, armpit, and groin. Now, what are the actual functions of lymph? Actual functions of lymph are, it transports fats, that is the fatty acids and glycerol, from the intestines to the blood. It destroys microorganisms and foreign particles in the lymph nodes. It drains excess tissue fluid from the intercellular spaces back into the blood. It carries the plasma protein, that is the macromolecule synthesized in the liver cells and hormones, from the endocrine glands to the blood. And the main function of lymphs is it protects the body by killing the germs drained out of the body tissues with the help of lymphocytes contained in the lymph nodes and by making antibodies. Now, these were the main functions. And do you know that tonsils are the masses of lymphatic tissues? Thymus and spleen are important lymphatic organs of the body. Now, here we wind up with the topic lymphatic system. The next system we would be discussing is the excretory system. Let us first talk about what is excretion. It is the process of removal of harmful metabolic waste products and salts from the body of an organism. Unlike animals, the excretory system in plants is not well developed. The different waste products released by plants are carbon dioxide, which is released during respiration, oxygen, which is released during photosynthesis, excess water, transpiration, resins, gums, and some other waste products stored in the cellular vacuoles. The carbon dioxide and water are utilized during photosynthesis and respiration, right? Now, excess water escapes by transpiration. In the old xylem, resins and gums are stored and released when the bark falls off. You must be knowing about the gum, right? The sticky water-soluble waste which is found in the gum trees, that is the babul tree, right? And now we know various extracts of tulsi, eucalyptus, lemon, right? We have quinine and morphine, which are medicines which are derived from cinchona bark and poppy flowers, etc. Now these all are the excretory saps of the various plants. Now we come to the topic excretion in animals. Now in animals we have various units as we grade down from unicellular to the multicellular, right? In different organisms, like for example in amoeba, that is the unicellular. There the excretion is done by contractile vacuoles, whereas in sponges and coelentrates the excretion is done by the body surface, whereas in earthworms they have the unit which is called nephridia. In insects they have Malpighian tubules, and finally in human body we have the kidneys, right? Now, what kind of wastes are produced in human beings? When we talk about human excretory system, now what are the wastes which are to be removed from the body? The first one is the respiratory waste, the second one is the nitrogenous waste, and the third one is the excess salts, and water soluble vitamins and water, right? That has to be excreted out. So the respiratory waste, we all know through expiration, that is, it is released through the cellular respiration. Okay, the nitrogenous waste, the main nitrogenous waste products are ammonia, urea, uric acid. Now urea, which is highly poisonous waste product, and its accumulation beyond a certain concentration in the body may cause death also. That's why it has to be eliminated, and it is eliminated through the kidneys. Now, in addition to this, excess salt, water-soluble vitamins and water that we take directly through food are other waste which are present in the body and are to be excreted out. Right? Now these are excreted generally by kidney, whereas sometimes some of it is excreted by sweat through our sweat glands. Okay. Now the excretory system of human being consists of the kidneys, a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, the urinary bladder and the urethra. Right? These are the four main parts of the human excretory system. Okay, now the kidney. The kidneys are the reddish brown, bean-shaped paired organs which lie towards the back of our body, slightly higher above the waist. And kidneys mainly remove the nitrogenous waste and excess water from the blood. Whereas ureter, it transports urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder where it has to be stored, right? The urinary bladder, it is a muscular reservoir for the urine where it is stored. The neck of the urinary bladder is surrounded by sphincters which remain closed until the time of urination. Okay. Then finally we have the urethra. It is the membranous tube which arises from the neck of the bladder and extends up to the urethral orifice. Now, the act of urinating is called micturition. Now we finally come to the main part, the main organ which acts in the excretory system, that is the kidney. Kidney is made up of, consists of more than 1 million nephrons, right? Nephrons. Now nephron is actually the functional unit of a kidney. Each nephron consists of Malpighian tubules, a nephric or a renal tubule and the collecting tubule. The Malpighian tubule consists of Bowman's capsule and the glomerulus, whereas the nephric tubules consist of the proximal convoluted tubule, that is the PCT in short we can say. It consists of the loop of Henle, that is the U-shaped loop, and the third one is the distal convoluted tubule, that is the DCT, right? Now that means in short what did we discuss? The nephron consists of three parts: the Malpighian capsule, the nephric or the renal tubule and the collecting tubule. Okay, the Malpighian capsule consists of the Bowman's capsule and the glomerulus, right? Nephric tubule consists of the PCT, the loop of Henle and the distal convoluted tubule, that is the DCT. The collecting tubule, it is the duct which drains the urine collected from the nephron to the ureter. Fine. Now the physiology of urine formation. How is the urine formed? Okay. Now it is formed in 6 steps. Mainly in 3 steps. That is, the first step is ultrafiltration. The second one is tubular reabsorption. And the third one is tubular secretion. Again, ultrafiltration, tubular reabsorption and tubular secretion. Now we come stepwise. Okay, so the first one is the blood from renal artery, right, enters the kidney, right? Now here starts ultrafiltration. Now what is ultrafiltration? The liquid part of the blood containing nitrogenous waste, which enters through the renal artery, right? Now the liquid part of the blood containing nitrogenous waste, that is glucose, amino acids, mineral ions, etc., is filtered out in the Bowman's capsule. This forms the glomerulus filtrate. Since filtration is under high pressure, it is termed as ultrafiltration. Now what is this Bowman's capsule and glomerulus? Bowman's capsule, it is situated on the proximal part of the nephron. It is actually double-walled, cup-shaped structure, right? The outer concavity of this Bowman's cup is filled with a knot-like bundle of blood capillaries, which are termed as glomerulus. Now, an artery is attached to one end of the glomerulus, right? Now, what was this glomerulus? It was bundle of blood capillaries which were there in the Bowman's capsule, the cup-shaped Bowman's capsule. Now this artery brings blood containing waste materials like urea and all, which is filtered in all the, artery, the bundle of artery which is present inside the Bowman's capsule, right? Now, the other end of the glomerulus is the blood capillaries that comes out of the Bowman's capsule. It surrounds the nephric tubule and then joins the renal vein, discharging urea-free, clean blood to it. That means cleaning is done inside this cup, the Bowman's capsule, in the glomerulus, that is the capillaries which are present inside the Bowman's capsules. Fine. Now, the second step, that is the tubular reabsorption. Okay, so filtration is done, ultrafiltration. So filtration is done in the Bowman's capsule. Now, water and many solutes are reabsorbed through the walls of nephric tubule and returned to the blood in capillaries. Right. Now, nephric tubule, we already know nephric tubule consisted of the proximal convoluted tubule. It is the initial region of the nephric tubule, right, which is highly coiled. Then we have the loop, U-shaped loop from the middle of the nephric tubule. And then we have the distal, that is again a 3 parts of the same tubule, right? So this is quite a coiled, a long tube. Now water and many solutes are reabsorbed through the walls of nephric tubule and returned to the blood in capillaries. Now tubular secretion, the third point is tubular secretion. Cells of renal tubule remove waste from the blood and pass them into the filtrate, right? Now, hormones action adjusts the urine concentration. That is, the ADH promotes water reabsorption. There is reabsorption of some water, sodium and potassium. And the final step is urination. That is, water and the solutes flow to the urinary bladder, and then they are eliminated through the urinary tract. Fine. So this is all about urine formation. Now, one more thing I would like to add, the yellow color of the urine. The yellow color of the urine is due to the presence of pigments, that is urochrome, which is obtained by the breakdown of hemoglobin of worn out red blood cells. So this is what we have in the excretory system of human beings. Thank you. Stay blessed.